Sometimes everything goes according to plan. Sometimes they go horribly. Join us while we tell tales of games gone wrong. This is Curmudgeons and Dragons RPG Horror Stories.
Hello, adventurers! Guys, welcome to Curmudgeons and Dragons. My name is Jason Portizo, and today I am joined by Mr. Jim Crocker.
Hello, everybody.
And the return of Ms. Josey Diaz.
Back at it and better than ever, baby!
Hey, we missed you.
So glad.
Back from her little studying sabbatical.
You called it a sabbatical. It was an entire fall semester, but that's okay.
Pretty much. Well, listen, we record once a month, so I had to explain why you were gone for a whole month when you really just couldn't do that week.
I had so many essays to write, but you'll be happy to know that thus far I've gotten A's.
Nice.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I'm a smart cookie.
And if she studies any harder, she'll be a wizard.
God. My friends make fun of me all the time because we'll be out doing miscellaneous activity, and I'm just like, you know what? It's a great time for It's a great time for me to break out my laptop and start doing more homework. And they're all like, what fucking, we're hanging out. I was like, I have an essay to write, please.
Yep. Listen,
Josey's like, but Proust.
No. It was fucking, it was, I wrote an essay on fear and loathing in dystopia.
Ooh.
It was really good if you'd like to read it.
Cool.
Not you listeners. You don't get to see that until I publish it. But
more like Mervyn Peake than Proust, then, I guess.
Yeah.
Gorman Gast sort of stuff. Yeah.
Got some Margaret Atwood, got some George Orwell, as you do.
Yeah, there you go. All right.
Got Huxley. It was a nice, good.
We had a good time getting Melissa on the show, got some of her stories in. She's been a listener for a while, so it was very cool to get her behind the scenes a bit and see how awful making the show actually is.
Yeah, she seemed to enjoy herself, though.
No, she had a great time. Including her in the reels too. Thanks to everyone who's been sharing the reels and everything. And we didn't have a TikTok presence at all before this, and every video we've been putting out has been getting 3,000 and 4,000 hits. So
we have a TikTok.
If you're finding us from TikTok, hi. Thanks for coming over. I know it's hard to leave the TikTok platform.
It is quite addictive.
It's not only that, but just I work in podcasting for a living. It's just the conversion from the ultra short format TikTok and Reels and stuff, and getting them onto to leave that format to listen to a long format podcast is almost impossible. So if you cared enough to actually click on the link there, welcome aboard. And
you say that, but people on TikTok will watch a 34-part 3-minute per video series on earthworms or some shit. They do have the capacity.
As long as it's 3 minutes per video, that's it. That's what matters. So they can stop at any time.
Almost the kind of thing that might make you want to get started with the show.
Almost. Hint taken, Jim.
Speak for yourself. I'll keep going.
Quick disclaimer: I've been sick all week, so if I sound a little hoarse or nasally or whatever, or if you're watching the YouTube, I'm going to be muting myself and coughing really, really hard off mic. So,
Jason, I've already told you, a little horse is a pony,
and we want to.
I've already told you, shut up, Josey.
You can't make me.
We should assure our listeners that is not COVID that you've established that through multiple tests.
And even if it was, we record in different states or countries.
Yes, that's true.
So, we're all safe here. Okay. There's nothing more socially distant than me being in New Jersey and Josey being in fucking England.
That's true. That's true.
It's 6 feet. How about 6,000 miles? Now let's do that.
You are 3,200 miles away from me. Shut your mouth.
6,000 kilometers?
I'm not doing the conversion. Do I look like a math person to you?
I think I'm not that far off.
And Jason's on the shore. Jason's on the shore, and I'm in North Jersey, so those may as well be different countries too. So
they are absolutely different countries.
You're just fake New York, Jim.
Making a fork, Jim.
Well, that's the New England boy. Yeah, that's growing up in Connecticut. I grew up in Connecticut. So.
My friend that I go to school here with is from Mawa, and I constantly trash talk them about it.
Oh yeah. That's just what we do.
As you do. You have to.
You guys want to read a story?
Yeah, let's do it.
I would love to tell a story.
We should read a goddamn story.
I'm going to read a goddamn story.
Yeah, let's have Josey read a story.
Yeah, because you missed my voice so much. I just figured you'd want to hear me do it, like a monologue about it. So this is posted by user Literal Garbage Yo, which is a chef's kiss kind of name. But the post is, he was planning on killing them all from the first session. Hello again. Last week I posted a relatively mild horror story about a player who refused to make a character that would work with the party. To my pleasant surprise, the post really blew up, so I decided I'll share one of my many stories as to why that rule exists.
Blah, blah, blah.
As to why that rule exists in the first place. For those of you that didn't see the previous post, I have 2 simple rules when it comes to character creation.
Blah, blah. This could have had a medium tag if you didn't have the fucking 7 paragraphs before the story.
Listen, you gotta give them
better people.
Listen, give a bitch a prologue, okay? Let me work up to it. Let me build the tension.
Fine. Go ahead. Build tension.
Right. For those of you,
so tense right now.
Jason.
Think
for
of this
those
part
of you
as foreplay, Jason.
Jason hates foreplay. For those of you who didn't see my previous post, I have 2 simple rules when it comes to character creation. 1, the character has to make sense in the world conceptually. 2, the character has to see themselves as a member of the party and a participant in the adventure. Which is, valid.
Entirely reasonable. Yes.
We've tried a few times to take that exact concept and put it into words. That does a pretty good job right there.
Oh, and we've also got a disclaimer here. This story happened almost 10 years ago. I'll try to retell it as faithfully as possible, but my memory is not a steel trap, and things blur as the years go by. Also, it can easily be said that I bear a decent amount of blame for how this turned out. I can own that. I love that. I love when we take responsibility.
Okay. It's healthy, really.
A bit of backstory. A regular DM had just graduated from college, Mazel Tov, and accepted a job halfway across the country. I volunteered to step into his shoes and become our new DM. And let me just say that those were some big shoes to fill. I guess he was a fucking clown. I'm so sorry. He was known for crafting absolutely brilliant homebrew worlds, complete with riveting storylines and thrilling combat. Maybe it's nostalgia speaking, but there were very few things that he couldn't do well. However, we as a group did have one regular complaint. He could be limiting when it came to character creation. We could only choose from a relatively small selection of races and classes, and were usually steered towards a good alignment. Ooh, I would have so much fun destroying that DM. He was big into heroic archetypes. Not the end of the world, though. We still had a lot of fun, but some of us were itching to play something a little different. So when I took over, in my infinite wisdom, please read that line with as much sarcasm as possible.
Ooh,
So when I took over, in my infinite wisdom.
In my infinite wisdom.
Oh, do I want to? In my infinite wisdom, that's for all y'all bitches watching us on the YouTube. I decided to lift all restrictions on race, class, and alignment. Most players went for some flavor of chaotic neutral, except for one, who we will refer to as Rogue. Rogue texted me one day and asked if I mind if he plays a chaotic evil character. Me, being an immature 20-year-old who enjoys playing evil characters in games like Oblivion and Fallout, as well as being an inexperienced DM who's never had to deal with the headaches that murder hobos inevitably bring, said that this sounded kind of like a fantastic idea. Rogue starts off his antics almost immediately in the first session by executing a bandit that the rest of the party had captured and was going to set free once they interrogated him. This sets off a big argument between all of the characters, in character, out of character. They were all smiles and laughs, and almost breaks the party up from the get-go. To my relief, Rogue has his character back down and apologize. The party lets the issue drop. This didn't stop the Rogue from murder hoboing, however. He just decided to get smarter about how he went about it. He would come up with very elaborate plans to off NPCs who had slighted him. To the player's credit, these plans were generally well thought out and allowed him to avoid detection from both his party as well as the authorities. To make these plans work, he would regularly buy, loot, or steal any item he found useful. He regularly had an inventory full of utility items like potions and scrolls that all had unique effects. In the beginning, I admit, we were all entertained by Rogue's antics. The other players even egged him on at times, out of character, of course. None of us had experienced a murder hobo before, so this was a new and interesting experience for all. The fact that none of you have ever experienced a murder hobo at all really tells so much about the group of people you're with. I applaud thee.
Well, they had to be like nice heroic types before.
Yeah, that's true. But I've never played D&D where there wasn't at least one murder hobo, as I was always in the game.
Right.
The novelty, however, quickly wore off. As the sessions wore on and months go by, we would begin to get annoyed that Rogue was taking up more and more time with his murder plots. In hindsight, I should have done something to manage the situation, but I was still very inexperienced at this time and not very confident in what I could do. Then finally, we get to the night of the incident. I can't believe he didn't capitalize it. This was a perfect moment for some dramatic capitals in this. It doesn't matter. This is just me being a writer.
But this could also be the incident, right?
Capital T, capital I, the incident.
I think it's italics at this point.
I think you could do with the capitalization. Doesn't matter. It's not relevant. It's like, that's just a me thing.
We got to the night of the incident.
The incident. After a successful mission, the party visits a local inn to rest and celebrate. Rogue invites the party back to his room so that they can have some drinks in private and plot out our next course of action.
Nice.
He pours everyone a glass of wine. It's only after each character had taken a drink that he reveals that he had laced the wine with a powerful sleeping draught. He then tells me that his character waits until everyone is asleep and proceeds to empty several jars of oil across the room. He then walks out of the room and throws a torch down on the floor before he shuts the door.
My God.
Once the door is shut, he pulls out a scroll of arcane lock and magically locks the door shut, leaving the rest of the PCs to die in a horrible blaze.
He went full Tarantino.
It's just not like it's just like wild.
You never go full Tarantino.
But he fucking did it. After a few moments of shocked silence, everyone at the table starts shouting simultaneously, which is, by the way, the correct reaction.
At least.
Saying they wouldn't have drank the wine, asking to roll insight, asking to make a save, anything and everything that could potentially save their characters. It took me longer than I'm proud of, but I eventually gathered my wits. Sometimes it's hard to wrangle all of your brain cells into one coherent thought, OP. You don't have to worry about that, actually. The fact that you gathered your wits at all is commendable. I asked Rogue what prompted his character to commit this act, since it seemed out of character for him to suddenly turn against his friends. He responded that he didn't technically need a reason, as his character was chaotic evil. I don't agree with that, but since I asked, he pulled out a journal that he wrote from the perspective of his character. It was full of perceived slights from every member of the party, leading back all the way to the argument in the first session. It became clear that he had been planning this for months, since the very beginning of the campaign. I just want to pause for a second and say that despite how, shitty it is to just kill off all of the other players,
you kind of respect it.
I have the utmost respect for this pseudo serial killer behavior, collecting slights in a physical journal so that when they go, "Why, Rogue? Why have you turned against all of us?" You'd be like, "Well, you see, according to this page 15 in my journal, you made a snide remark about my outfit, and it was that moment I knew you had to die."
Yeah, I'm a hardcore incel psychopath. Is like Justin, and I've detailed everything that I. Man,
if you go through all of that trouble, I mean, I'm not a DM, so I can't really. If I was the DM and you went through all of that trouble, fuck it, I'll allow this bullshit. You planned it. You planned it very well.
Finish the story. We'll discuss a little bit.
I'm so sorry. I was stunned, to say the least. This was a campaign that I had spent a considerable amount of time on, and it had just gone up in flames, literally.
Boo!
Awkwardly, I called an end to the session so I could figure out how to handle the situation appropriately. Everyone left grumbling, except for Rogue, who walked out with a self-satisfied smirk. The next morning, I called my old DM for advice. After tearing me a new one for not accounting for the time zone difference between us, he coached me through how to handle the rules. Don't be a dick about it, my guy.
They just drops that in there. It's like nothing to do with the story. The fact that
that just sounds like you're being a salty bitch. I don't know. I can't even say shit about this either because I will consistently call my mom at what is 5:30 in the morning her time, but I'm already at work and bored. I want to talk to my mommy. Anyway, he coached me through how to handle the rolls and saves that would be needed to be made for Rogue's plan to go into effect, but he told me the better idea was to just retcon the whole session, which is what I ended up doing.
Yep.
Rogue wasn't happy, ended up leaving the campaign, but realistically the campaign would have ended if I let him get his way, so no big loss here. And there you go. This story is a major reason why I make sure all my players now make characters that willingly work together, and it goes without saying that they shouldn't drug and incinerate their party either. Looking back now...
you're no fun.
Looking back now, I cringe at how I handled a lot of this, but I learned a lot and improved over the years. Sucking at something is the first step towards being sort of good at something. TLDR, Rogue plots for months to kill his entire party. My dumbass almost lets it happen. And there you go.
It says something about the nature of these horror stories that we get that my reaction to, and then he burned them all to death was, oh, thank God. Because when I hear he drugged us and then we all fell asleep, I'm like, where the fuck is this going? Where's this going?
Yeah, no.
Oh, okay. He just murdered all of them.
It's just arson.
Okay,
honestly,
that's all right. Okay.
Arson is the most acceptable scenario. As a woman living in society, I too was getting a little frightened. I was like, oh, this is going to be the kind of story Jason told me not to tell.
Yeah. What cliff are we about to drive off here?
That leave a bad taste in everyone's fucking mouth. But no, this is just arson, which is acceptable.
Just arson and mass murder.
Yeah.
Nothing creepy going on here.
Yeah.
Okay. So obviously killing everyone in your party is bad. Let's get that out of the way.
But
if you're listening to the show, I probably don't have to tell you that. But if you're gonna do it,
I honestly, other than the fact that it's a shitty thing to do, I think the only thing that he didn't do correctly was not clue in the DM. Be like, hey, you're letting me play a chaotic evil character. I'm collecting slights against me like we're collecting money and trophies.
Mm-hmm.
Because that is, I think, honestly, something you could work into the campaign. Like if when he's given the sip of the drink, if the DM knew that there was this underlying plot going on with the chaotic evil character, could have been like, why don't you guys roll this, that, or the other thing, like an arcana or medicine or even just like an insight to be like, no, our murder hobo friend is being very nice to us, and I find that incredibly suspicious.
Mm-hmm.
I actually don't mind a running joke where one of the characters, one of the PCs, is just this evil little goblin that's out for his own thing and is occasionally trying to kill everybody, and they're all just like, oh, you didn't get us this time. I think that could be fun and funny, but I do like a fun and funny kind of campaign.
I think this would be kind of cool if the rogue player told the DM his plans, said, hey, it's going down tonight.
I'm yelling timber.
Played it out exactly like that. Turned that situation, the arcane lock was a brilliant move, actually, and I'm actually not even mad at it. Let the DM turn that into a scenario. Give them another out. That they have to find. You have X amount of turns. Okay, ready to roll initiative. And on this number of turns that I'm not telling you, bad things are going to happen to you.
Yeah, making it into like a death trap. That would be cool. You groggily come to as the room is filling with smoke, and you look around, and the door's locked. What do we do?
It takes one person with a sledgehammer to punch a hole through that floor.
Sure,
Kool-Aid Man through the wall or something like that to get out of there. That's some kind of thing like that.
There were ways in which this DM could have continued on with the scenario they had been given. I'm not saying that what they did was wrong where they ended. They were like, fuck, now I have to think of something else to do to save everybody that wouldn't necessarily be retconning. But again, my biggest issue with this...
The players sprung it on them, it had to be retconned. But had this been discussed, But continue.
No, just my biggest issue with this story is not that the chaotic evil rogue turned out to be a backstabbing murder hobo, but that
turned out to be chaotic evil.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you let the player be chaotic evil, and then you were surprised when he acted like that. My problem is the DM did not know. And I think it's a really genuinely cool subplot to have, like, your silly little murder guy with you, who it's like he's great at killing enemies, but sometimes we gotta watch out because he tries to kill us too.
Yeah, I think like I said, like have the DM in on it, have the rogue set the whole thing up, and then dip. Play it out as like as its own little scenario or a mini game or something along those lines. I am absolutely all for whenever a DM says, "Okay, here's how this is going to work." I love
skill
that.
challenge or something like that. Sure,
yeah, something like that. I love those. I love seeing it.
I love a surprise mini game.
But then the rogue player has to be like, "Here's my character sheet, DM. This is yours now."
Yeah. That was a great way to, like, see yourself out of the campaign, and the fact that, like, reasonably, what did the rogue think was going to happen after this?
They thought they were going to win at D&D. This very much has that feel to it. It's like, game's over. I was the main character all along. Suck it.
Yep.
Like that. It's got that, know, that kind of suck it. I'm out kind of thing.
I hate to see it.
Yeah.
Hate to see it.
Yeah.
So there is there is something that I noticed, which is like, it's almost a throwaway line further up there, which is that, so this player went chaotic evil, but I feel like the other PCs, all of whom explicitly were supposed to be chaotic neutral, like they weren't doing their jobs if this campaign didn't fall apart before we got to this point.
Yeah.
Like, we had 4 chaotic neutral characters and a chaotic evil. There should have been, I
would have woken up in those flames and be like, chaos reigns supreme. Yes.
There should have been a lot more bullshit before we reached this point. I don't know. Maybe they just didn't talk about it, but like, I feel like if they were all like, if they were still buddies at that point, then somebody, didn't get the memo on what it means to be chaotic neutral either. So
maybe some of them were chaotic good. I don't know. Does it say in here?
I think it said they were all chaotic neutral.
I think it just said that they were all chaotic.
Most players went for some flavor of chaotic neutral.
Okay, some flavor. I guess you can be chaotic neutral to the world, but still have your crew that you roll with. So that's
Like, let's take a minute here. What does chaotic neutral actually mean in the context of D&D? Because a lot of people just say that, oh, chaotic neutral murder hobo, but they only murder bad guys, which is not necessarily what it is.
I can do what I want. Yeah,
I am subject only to my own whims, and the laws of man mean nothing to me. That doesn't necessarily, chaotic neutral does not necessarily make you a bad guy. I will die on this fucking hill.
Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law.
Exactly.
The whole Aleister Crowley thing going on. Yeah.
Yeah, Aleister Crowley, the most notorious chaotic neutral man.
If you recall, you and I did an episode that was titled, "Is This Chaotic Neutral?"
Yeah.
Back when Jack was involved. That's one of the last episodes Jack did, actually.
I think you're right.
Yeah. I forget what episode number it was, but either way, we'll figure it out and drop it in the show notes if you want to take a listen to that. We kind of had some ideas that looking back, I think I disagree with myself on.
We can always revisit it.
I would love to revisit it. Yeah,
I usually will play either a chaotic good or a chaotic neutral character, just because I like to be a silly little guy.
Well, yeah, you are a silly little guy.
Yeah, and as a person outside of D&D, I don't agree that laws are necessarily moral, and I don't think I need to follow all of them. I think some of them are, quite frankly, stupid. That's why I'm fleeing to another country.
You can find her at this address.
You cannot. You don't know my address. Fuck you.
You're right. I don't.
Keep a secret.
You got me on that one. You win this round, Josey.
I win most of them, but that's okay.
Yeah, whatever. This was a fun one. Yeah, I think if a player had approached me as a DM and said, and kind of went about it how we said it could have gone, Like, hey, listen, I've been keeping tabs on these fuckers and I'm about to kill them all. I would at least like it if a player said, is that okay?
Yeah. Or
and then I
as the
would be
DM, I want to be
no.
like, can I see that notebook, please?
You
I
know,
want to know how
even if I-
crazy of a human being you are.
My first reaction is like, no, that's not okay. And then the next day after I stew on it, I'd be like, hey, listen.
Can I see that?
Yeah.
This sounds to me like was it Hot Fuzz?
Yeah.
Was the movie where they kill people for stupid reasons?
Shame. It's just the gif of the guy loading the shotgun and he's all smiles. He's like, shame, really? Popping it in place, getting ready.
Browsing the comments here, and it's a lot of like, this is why I don't trust players that play evil characters, which sparked a lot of debate there. So the link to the original post will be in the show notes. There's some really good comments in here.
And I mean, I think one of the other things that's worth thinking about here, and that's interesting, is that like when they lead with you know, the other characters had this NPC captive that they were going to question and let go, and then the rogue just shanked them, and like that's PvP right there. Like that's from the jump. If you're, you know, if everybody else agrees we're gonna do this one course of action, and somebody else takes this, basically and says,
haha, psych.
Well, says the game's going to go the way I want it to, and so I'm going to take this action that you know, points the game in the direction I want it to. Doesn't matter what you think because I've killed this guy. Like you know, that like they were headed towards the in that situation. You know, like right from that point, it was very clear that there was PvP going on, even though it was like narrative PvP and not necessarily we're literally stabbing each other.
Yeah.
But people wrestling for what direction the game was going to go in. You know, right from that point, right at the beginning.
That could have also just as easily been an in-character argument as it could have been an out-of-character argument.
Yeah.
Or it could have been both at the same time. I would love to know... Sorry. I would love to know how people that like to play evil-aligned characters work within their party. Because I think the only person that I have played in a party with who chose an evil-aligned character is my friend Jeanette. Shout out to Jeanette if you do hear this episode.
Hey, Jeanette.
Hello, Jeanette. I miss you. I love you. I'll see you this summer. But she played it in a way where it was like she was with the party because she knew that she could accumulate things through the party. And she was a cleric. And anytime somebody was at the verge of death, she'd be like, I could heal you right now, but then you owe me a life debt.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a great way to play an evil character. It's just chef's kiss, perfect. I would genuinely really like to know how other people go about playing evil-aligned characters in a party setting where it's not necessarily everybody's evil-aligned.
I think it absolutely...
Curmudgeons and Dragons pod@gmail.com. Let us know if you are an evil player.
Please, I love it when Jason has mail for me.
Not an evil player, a player who plays evil characters.
I said what I said, Jim, okay?
No, right. I'm an evil player who just happens to be chaotic neutral.
Or let's have some fun. You can go to curmudgeonsanddragons.com and use the little voicemail option there, and you can tell us yourself in your own voice.
Yes.
And if it's funny enough, we'll play it on the show.
Yeah.
I did sit in on a one-shot with, there's some pre-gen characters, and there was the, of course, the Tiefling Warlock was evil-aligned, lawful evil. And like, evil doesn't always mean I'm going to kill everyone in my party. Yeah. Evil just means you have different goals than the greater good in mind.
Also, I think I think I've made this reference before, but lawful good doesn't necessarily make you a protagonist either. It doesn't make you one of the good guys.
No.
Javert in Les Mis is a lawful good character who is, in fact, the antagonist.
Mm-hmm.
It all depends on your frame of reference.
Yeah. But so this one shot I played, there's this Tiefling Warlock that was definitely lawful evil. And the DM actually said, because these are pre-gens, the DM made them. The DM said, okay, so what's happening in this scenario is that souls are being blocked from going to the afterlife, which all you good players want your souls to be going to the afterlife because that's where they belong. That's what they worked for their lives, they deserve to go to the deities that they want to go to. And B, if they don't go to the afterlife, they stay here as zombies, and that's bad for us here. You, tiefling player, the only real horse you have in this game is that the souls aren't going to your god. So you need to solve this for your reasons. And that's how you have a evil player playing with good players that all now have the same goal, despite coming at it from different directions.
As long as you've got that communication at the player level, that's the important thing. People playing evil characters.
One shot with pre-gens, that's important. Mm-hmm. Like here's your motivation. Uh-huh. We're going to be in here for 3 hours. That's it. You know.
Yeah.
So I kind of like this story. This could have gone in so many cool different directions, and it's unfortunate it went in the one that it did. But I mean, like,
but still, all around, not the worst thing that could have happened.
But it's
nobody got punched in the nuts. Nobody shat on anybody's chairs.
That's true. But it's definitely that object lesson.
For you next episode, Josey. Have I got a story for you next episode? If you want to talk about wait,
I'm so excited. If you're not on YouTube, you can't see me bouncing on my bed.
I'm not saying another word about it. Any final thoughts?
It's definitely one of those object lessons where new DM says, you know what? Everybody tells me not to do this, but I think I'll do it right. And it's like, nope, there's a reason why everybody tells you not to do this, kid.
I don't even think it's I'll do it right. I want to see what happens if I do allow this bullshit.
Yes, yeah.
Mom says don't touch the stove. I need to know why I can't touch the stove.
You can tell me 6 ways to Sunday all of your reasons for not wanting me to touch the stove, but I think I need to experience it.
Oh, hey,
and that was you like a month ago, Josey.
Yeah. That's me right now, babe. I've not changed since I was 12 years old. In that regard, I've changed other ways.
All right, so this story can be found in the show notes. Everything else is on curmudgeonsanddragons.com. I don't really have anything big to plug right now, except that we have episode goddamn 100 coming up next week.
Oh yeah,
so stick around for that. Aside from that, I chose stuff to plug because now we're doing some more work on Instagram Reels and TikTok. So go follow us on either one of those. Whichever one is your favorite, they're the same videos.
Don't spoil the magic. If they don't watch both, they'll never know.
Follow us on both. Just
in case.
We need them numbers. We need them numbers.
No, but don't ruin the magic of it. Maybe we'll post different things, and you'll only know if you subscribe to both.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll stop being annoying now.
That's all I got. Jim, Josey, thank you so much.
Anytime.
Goodbye, adventurers.
Thank you for listening to Curmudgeons and Dragons. Please share this with your favorite adventurers and leave a review. If you have a tale we should tell, please send it to us at curmudgeonsanddragons.com/contact for consideration. You are now out of initiative.